I think the tasks of pastor as leader and the tasks of pastor as preacher both overlap and don't overlap at the same time. And first of all, let me talk about the not overlapping. I don't believe that in areas of conflict or significant difference or places where there's confusion in a congregation about an issue, that the appropriate thing is for the pastor to get up in the pulpit and say, this is where I am on this issue, and the rest of you need to get behind me. Especially in areas of conflict, for the pastor to use the pulpit as a place of where one side is broadsiding. If the pastor's getting broadsided by a group of people, that's not appropriate. Sometimes pastors I know feel driven to that. If people are taking shots at them constantly, then they want to use the pulpit as a place to take shots back, and that's fundamentally unhelpful. And it will both make the conflict worse, because a community will know right away it was an inappropriate use because one person has that space and voice and others don't. But it also then undermines the rest of the preaching task to proclaim the forgiveness and the grace of God when one is using it for a personal agenda. On the other hand, leadership is in part about vision. Whether one thinks about vision in terms of a secular paradigm like the book Good to Great's big, hairy, audacious goal, or one thinks about it theologically, that vision is a picture given from God of God's preferred future. And there is a task that's appropriate to preaching about casting a vision of an alternate imagination. I think it's Walter Brueggemann, the Old Testament scholar, who talks about the prophetic task of imagining a world that's different because this world is not matched perfectly to God's will. And so there is a piece of preaching that can be about casting the promise, casting a vision of where a congregation is going as it follows God, and that's an appropriate use, an overlap between leadership and preaching.